We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? Birmingham's the team. Down at St Andrews, we are all supporters of our team. We chanted Super Blues, ringing all around. Now all you blue boys know what we mean. We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? Let's hear you in the cup, singing our song, helping and sharing the load. It's worth the point at home when we sing together. We're there at the end of the road. We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? We have a team that's tops here at St Andrews. They gotta give us what we're longing for. It's Birmingham forever, let's hear it from the stand. So come on City, sing this song once more. We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say?
Monday night at 7:30, and of course this is the Tilton Talk Show, sponsored by Boyle Sports, principal sponsors of Birmingham City Football Club, and in conjunction with SAS Autos and our good friends at Borsey Labour Club, and of course the Garrison Coffee Company. Tonight we have Mrs. Brown. We also have Mr. Robe.
Evening all.
Have you got a different colour robe, or is that just it?
I've got about 5 or 6 of the same.
Same?
No, I'm only joking. This is just my favourite one.
Radio. Okay, and of course our good friend Mr. Sheen, Mr. Paul Hickis.
Good evening all.
And we're joined tonight, special guest star of the Tilton Talk Show on a Monday night. It's what Mondays are for. The one and only John Terry, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey!
John Terry.
Bad way to start that, isn't it? Bad way to start the show.
I'll tell you what, you are a spitting image looking like, though, aren't you? Not like the spitting image off the TV, you know, with all the lips and the hair and everything.
Yeah. But you want to see the looks I get Blues Villa games when I'm sat in the home end, obviously in the Blues end. It's not a good moment. I have to make sure I've got all my family with me then, I tell you.
You just need an pen and write Marcus Painter on your head.
I'll go in one of my old shirts.
Or I am not John Terry.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Marcus, welcome to the Tilton Talk Show Monday night. And during these awful times that we're going through, we kept the show going all through the closed season just so that we could keep in contact with all our good friends and our fans and followers. And so that we could just keep together as a community of Birmingham City fans. And you know what? These guys, believe me, have done some absolute miracles during lockdown. They're absolutely a superb bunch, and you're going to love tonight. And we really, really, really want to thank you and welcome you, and for giving your time up on one thing or another. And it's great to have like an ex-Premier League player as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me. No, it's great. Obviously, being a big Blues fan myself, you know, I'm more than happy to get involved in any Blues tour, any memories that, I can share. So like I say, this was the club that I supported and where I kind of made my debut and made my start, coming up from the academy from the age of 8. Well, it wasn't even called the academy then; it was the Centre of Excellence. So,
that's probably a little bit difficult for footballers to say Centre of Excellence rather than academy.
Yeah, I'm probably showing my age a little bit there by even calling it that, because most people would be like, "What's that? What is that?" But it's great. Obviously, like I say, being a fan and even working at the club now, it's great. The only thing, obviously, I think we all miss is just actually going to the games at its home and away, and missing that atmosphere and getting together with friends, and but hopefully one day we'll have it back.
Let's hope. Let's hope sooner rather than later, because I was watching a little bit of the West Bromwich Albion game earlier. That's currently 1-1, by the way. And like, it's just nothing. It's just nothing without a big crowd there. And I felt sorry for the West Brom players, actually. And I know it's a blue show, but like, gaining promotion to the Premier League and then not having one single supporter there to see you come out, it must be absolutely awful. What about yourself, though? Your debut, as Paul quite rightly said, was against Fulham. But what about that first time when you walked out at St Andrews being a Blue Nose yourself?
Oh, unbelievable!
You wear a shirt for real.
Yeah. It's it's hard to explain. I mean, see, being a big Blues fan, loads of my family are massive Blues fans. I remember that it was the night before the game, so it was on the Friday. I got told I was starting. So Steve Bruce, who's our manager at the time, called me up to the office before training and said, I'd like to speak to your parents if that's all right. So I was a bit like, it's a weird one.
How old were you?
So I was 19.
Right.
So he said, I'd like to speak to your parents. I just want to let them know that I'm going to start you tomorrow. So I was like, oh wow. I didn't really say much. He just carried on talking and said, I want to treat your family. I want to make sure they're sitting in nice seats and they can have a meal before the game. Straight away, obviously, I've got massive butterflies. So I'm thinking, oh, here we go. It's going to be what did we used to have then? It'd be like 31,000 because the segregation wouldn't have been as serious. So and that night, I barely slept. Family were all looking forward to it. I think I asked every single player if I could have their complimentary tickets because all my friends were. I even had Villa fans who were my mates wanted to come to it. If I'm allowed to say that. It was a great moment, but I actually, looking back, and it was great, and when we scored was great, but I was sick before the game. I was that nervous. I remember running into the toilet, sick, out to do the warm-up, and I was fine then, but I was just like, the amount of pressure that you probably experienced. Obviously, we were going through a bit of a rocky spell, then that's why he kind of gave me an opportunity, because I think he'd gone with Julian Gray a few times, Jamie Clapham a few times, and I think he got to the point where he thought, I'm just going to put a bit of youth in there, bit of passion, homegrown, just, give it your all kind of thing. And at times, I think, as we all know, that's what us fans respect more than anything, is someone that's willing to give everything for the shirt. And he knew he'd get that with a young lad that's come through the system. So, but yeah, like I say, I can't particularly say I enjoyed it. But I did enjoy the full-time whistle and 1-0 at the end of it.
Yeah. Can you remember what the 11 was, Marcus, that you started in? So you was left back. What was the rest of the team? Obviously, Mike. I'm guessing Mike was in net.
Mike Taylor was in goal. I think it was either Damien Johnson or Tebley at right back.
Yeah.
Centre back was Kenny Cunningham, Upson. Definitely remember that, because that's a pairing to settle your nerves if I've ever seen one.
Well, that's the best defensive partnership I've ever seen in my time at the Blues. That is.
Yeah.
They were brilliant. They were just so good. Ahead of me was Stan Lazaridis. Again, another great pro that you know, like for a young lad coming into a team, I think looking back on it now, that's the best probably players surrounding me I could have wished for, because, you know, they were full of experience. They were nice blokes, like, you know, good blokes where they'd look after you and they'd help you out as much as I could. They understood that you're probably absolutely bricking it. So, no, they were great. The centre midfield was Nicky Butt, Stephen Clements. I think it was Jermaine Pennant on right wing. Up front,
Heskey?
I think
Heskey?
it was Heskey and Jarosik as well. I think it was just off him.
Yeah.
I think, but I know Heskey was there because I remember like a few of the lads saying to me before the game, and even Bruce, the gaffer, there was like, if you're ever in trouble, pop the ball up to Heskey, and he'll always get something out of it. Because he was so good, wasn't he, in the air and holding up play, and he could deal with those type of balls. So, it was. I couldn't have wished for anything more. I mean, coming away 1-0 with a 1-0 win on your debut, and Pat St Andrews, the noise. Like, if I think back now, it gives me goosebumps even thinking about it. Like, I just remember sprinting it up to the Tilton. We all jumped on Nicky Butt, and the noise was so good, so good.
Yeah. Remember it well.
That's one thing I miss. Like, you know, like probably now that I've stopped playing and I go and watch games as much as I can. Like, I'm probably there most home games, sometimes the odd away game, and I know you get the atmosphere at the away games, but at times that it's understandable because we're playing in the Championship now, but the Premier League days and the atmosphere there when we had a full house, it's like no other place, is it? You all know, you guys know that.
Yeah.
And, I think we all just crave for them days to come back again, where you know, like it's absolutely packed, keep on belting out, and
love it.
But I'm sure we'll have to wait a little bit for that.
Message wants to say hello from South Africa as we go around the world. Woohoo!
How you doing?
I was going to say, Marcus, have you still got your shirt from that night?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, my parents ended up getting it framed.
Yeah.
It was stuck in my dad's shed for a good few years. I will say that. Yeah, no, it's mad, isn't it? Like, everyone says to me, like, what do you do with all the shirts that you know, like that you've had over the years? And to be honest, I've never been really big on that. Like, I don't know. I just kind of, I've never been one to kind of hang on to anything and talk too much about it, if you know what I mean.
Right. Give me that shirt.
I'm not saying I'll give it away. But
I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. You've just made a statement that you don't want to hang on to anything. You don't want it. So I'll take it off your hands.
Well, I think my mum and dad wouldn't be too pleased about that, even though it was in his shed. But now, like people say to me, "Oh, have you got like what top player shirts have you got?" And I was always of the type that if I was at a club, I wouldn't want to ask before the game, so I don't think that's right. I think you're preparing for the game, not thinking about what shirt you're going to get at the end of it. And I do remember, like, when I was at Blues, we played. I was lucky enough to play Man United twice, and I think, well, I know for a fact that one game, I'm sure we must have got a draw out of it. I think it was 1-1 or 2-2, whatever it was. I remember going up to Ruud van Nistelrooy and Ryan Giggs after the game and saying, "Could I have your shirt, please?" Because it was a good result for us. So I wouldn't have got any stick from anyone in the changing room for taking a shirt because the result kind of gone in our favour. And they looked at me and flat right just went, "Nah, I'm not giving it you," and just walked off. So I thought, wow. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like they were at a club that were probably expected to beat teams like us. They expected to go to Birmingham City and come away with a victory. So maybe that was their kind of way of dealing with things, that they weren't happy. And you're asking me for my shirt. I'm not going to give it you because I'm not in that frame of mind. So I can't knock them for it. But you know, I didn't end up coming away with any good shirts really. I did get Jermaine Pennant when he was at Stoke, but that was about it.
Yeah, Nick.
Stuart Jones has just asked a question. What was your one and only goal like?
Oh, it's nice of him to bring that up. Yeah. Well, it was against Warsaw, so that was kind of one bonus to it, that it was kind of like a Midlands club that I ended up getting my goal against. I just ventured forward. I probably went too far forward, to be honest. The ball was actually on the right wing, and I was playing left back at Brighton. And I remember just Elliot Bennett had the ball, who now plays for Blackburn. He had some great quality on the ball. He could pick people out in the box, and I just thought, I'm going to bomb on here and see what happens. So I just got into the box. Benno put a ball in. I remember bumping one of our own lads out the way because he'd put it up for me to head. I just climbed over the back of one of our lads and kind of headed it, and it looped over the keeper. And it was probably the worst celebration you've ever seen. I was half didn't know whether I'd scored, and I was half looking, was it offside, for like a good 2 minutes. So when I look back on it, I cringe really.
Good friend of the show, Paul Devlin, has just messaged in. He never liked swapping shirts with the enemy.
Yeah, there you go. See, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It was not a thing I'd never liked to do it. Now, if someone said to me after the game, "Oh, could I have your shirt?" I'd be like, yeah, I'll give it to the kit man and I'll give it over that way. But like, if it was a friend or anything, I wouldn't really. To be fair, that most of the clubs I was at, the kit man would go crazy if you gave the shirt away, and he'd take it out your wages. So I'd be like, "Sod that! I'm not giving, I'm not giving shirt after shirt away." But
one thing Dev told me that was funny was about the shirts, and I never noticed until he pointed it out to me. But back when Dev played, the shirts were like massive, weren't they, on every single player?
Yeah.
When you see Darren Carter celebrate his penalty he scored in Cardiff, you don't realise that his shirt's actually 15 sizes too big for him.
It's massive, and it's massive.
Was it the same when you played, or was it not quite the same? Did it change after that?
No, it's true. It's true. Like, you look at all the shirts. Like, I remember like some of the pictures of Darren Carter like scoring the winning penalty and things, and you look back on those pictures, and even in regards to myself, and it was like it was a 3/4 sleeves, weren't it? It wasn't quite a long sleeve. It wasn't quite a short sleeve. It was 3/4. But I don't know. Maybe that was the. No one questioned it back then. That was the weird thing. But you give one of them shirts for a player these days. Oh, no, it's too baggy. I want it slim fit. I want to show off my physique and all this. So times have changed though.
Yeah. I suppose we're just happy to have one. I suppose, just to be in the team.
No, that's true. That's true. You're not complaining when you're given a shirt with a squad number on the back. That's it. I'll take it.
Jason Hughes has just asked, did the Walsall player ask for your shirt?
Who was there at the time as well was Julian Gray. He was playing for Walsall. But he didn't hang about to speak to me after the games. It proved to be the winner. So I don't know. Maybe we fell out a little bit after that game. I don't know.
Maybe it was because you nicked his spot at left back against Fulham.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
So did you watch? What do you think of what Karenka's doing nowadays, then, Marcus? What have you thought of the last? Let's obviously start with Norwich last Tuesday. Did you watch that one?
I did. Yeah, I did. I have to be careful what I say. I don't know, because I work for the club still. So I'll be honest. I mean, to me, it looked like we set up for a point.
Yes.
Maybe some people would say fair enough, away from home at Norwich, you're a good side.
Yeah.
As we all know, it was difficult for Scott Hogan up front on his own, and I'm sure the management staff, they can see it as well. They've been in the game long enough where, if Duke was probably available, he probably would have got a bit of support that he needed, or I don't know, have someone playing off him. But yeah, it was difficult for him. I mean, Scott Hogan, we all know what type of player he is. He likes to threaten him behind. I think we've seen him at his best when he played with Djukovic before lockdown. In my opinion, he was at his best there. So I think, in my opinion, he's best in a two, whether that's Djukovic or somebody else. I think Djukovic is the best partner for him. But
and Djukovic is better with a. And Djukovic is better with a partner as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, definitely. Because Dukey's kind of style to the game. He's very good with his back to goal. it's nice to have someone that complements that style. So someone that can threaten the other way, the spacing behind, like we've seen Scott Hogan can do, and so yeah, it's difficult. I mean, you could see when I was watching it, you could see Norwich having chance after chance, and I thought only sooner or later that we're going to break here, and unfortunately that happened. I mean, me being a defender myself, I think I know how hard it is when you can defend, especially away from home as well. That if you don't nick a goal to take the pressure off, it is very difficult to, as we all know, to keep clean sheets and to keep good teams at bay. I mean, they've got some good players. They have got some Premier League quality in that side. Even still, I mean, Campbell, I think clubs were sniffing around him during the summer, and you got Pookie, who was prolific in the Championship previously before they went up. So they've got some quality, and it's difficult. It's difficult to keep teams like that out for 90 minutes.
Bay,
yeah. And what about you watched the QPR game? That was a bit better, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
A lot better,
it was. That was promising. I mean, I was impressed. Like, it's we had a lot more opportunities, which is always a positive. I know you can stand there and go, now we need to start putting the ball in the net. We all know that.
Yeah.
And I do hear a lot of times that we haven't scored from open play. Yeah, that's right. But sooner or later, you'd like to think that's going to change. As long as we're creating the chances. Yeah. I would be more concerned if we weren't creating, but we are creating. So sooner or later, it's going to turn for us, and I'd like to think the goals are going to start flooding in. But no, I think certainly in terms of since Karanka's come in, that we look a lot more organised, hard to beat, and I do think that the longer he has with the group, then he'll start to instill his philosophy and the way he likes to do things. Because I'm not one for changing managers every 2 seconds. Where
no.
You've got to stick with someone, and that to build something, you can't just expect instant results. I mean, if you look at our club for the last few previous seasons, it's been relegation battles, hasn't it, for the last 2 years, definitely. And I think you stick with the manager, let him have a run, let him kind of instill his ideas. The team know what he's about. And look to build from there. I just think it's so difficult when you're chopping and changing, because the players has to do one thing with one manager, then it's completely turned on its head, has to do something else with another. So I think you just need some consistency and the same messages being fed across.
Yeah. I think he deserves credit though for the way he's sort of come in and picked us up off the floor, because that's where we were when he come in. We were conceding 3 goals more or less every game. And he's turned us into, obviously Etheridge has been a great signing in goal. That's made a huge difference. And defensively now, we're worlds apart from where we were only 3 or 4 months ago.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. I think, even some of the staff that I work with within the academy that ended up taking the team said, look, it was a tough task because confidence was rock bottom with some of the players, and they were asked to go in for the last few remaining games. They can't go in and start, right, this is the way we want to play. We want to start playing out the back. We want to start doing this, because the position that the team was in at the time was a relegation dogfight. So it was tough for some of our academy staff to go and kind of pick up the pieces, because we were at a real low point, weren't we? And it wasn't nice to watch. I think the players will admit that themselves.
Many relegation dogfights over the years, and you know what? As fans, we feel it as much as the players do, without a doubt. Like, I've sat at St Andrews and I've cried for happiness and I've cried for sadness, and I promise you that. The place gives me goosebumps every time I walk in it, and I'm just so mad that we can't go at the moment. Oh. Mark, I want a beer with you. Paul, I want a beer with you. I want a pie. Yeah. We want to do Piegate again. We want Booker pies back.
I'm not eating one of them pies again.
You know what though? Let's go for away days for a moment, Marcus. Like, and you go to away days yourself. Like, they are electric as far as Birmingham fans are concerned.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, brilliant. I like the away games. Like I say, I always try and go to Blues games whether it's home and away as much as possible. But the away games, when we're talking about atmosphere, that's the one, isn't it? You'll get atmosphere at away games. And depending on which away day it is, you'll get a little bit more atmosphere. So, my dad will always come with me. I'll ask him to go. We'll meet a good crowd up there and stuff. I mean, it's difficult because I'm working with like the under-18s. So our games are on a Saturday. So if we have an early kickoff, I can get there. Sometimes I can't. But, like the local ones, I think I can't remember the last one I went to be honest. Lockdown's completely thrown me. I can't remember my last game, let alone last game. But me and my dad we've been Millwall away, tasty as you can imagine. Villa, West Brom. Yeah, been to plenty, and it's great. I love it being around the Blues fans. You get the true fans, don't you, at them games.
Absolutely. Did you play in a local derby?
I didn't know. I was 18th man at the time, or whatever it was. I can't remember how many subs we had back then, but yeah, I was basically the spare one in case somebody got injured. Right. But I travelled with the squad, so I went on the bus and got a few windows put through and things. The usual thing you'd kind of expect at the local derbies, but. We are talking about a Blues Villa here, aren't we?
Yeah.
You said the word twice.
Yeah.
Early one.
Twice. Chris, cut him off. Yeah. Cut him off, Chris.
Good night, Marcus.
Yeah. But I do remember the one of the away games I travelled there. So I was in the what do they call it? Doug Ellis Suite. Yeah, that was it. Because I'm 19th man, so obviously I was in a suit. So I sat with like our John Benson, his name was. I think he was like the equivalent of technical director back then. And I was sat with him for the derby, and I thought, this is rubbish. I'm sat with like loads of like Villa directors in front of me, loads of Villa fans. I thought, I'm in a suit, but I need to get out of it. I need to get down to the away. The Blues fans are obviously being a Blues fan, so. I said to John at the time, I went, John, I've got family down there. I'm just going to make my way down to the pitch. So I remember half time I walked. I asked one of the stewards to get me down to the pitch. So I got down to the pitch. I was in like this grey suit as well. But like the Blues fans must have thought, who's this moron stepping into and coming to sit with us in like a shirt and tie like at this game? Who turns up in a suit at a local derby? But I just sat in there. Like I always know a few people in there. Obviously, like I say, with my family going and mates that I know around the club. So I ended up watching it there, and I think it was either a 0-0 or 1-1. I know there was. I know nobody. We didn't get beat, so that was a positive. Obviously, we haven't got the best track record over the years, but it's a bit of an odd one that traveling on the team bus, but ended up standing with our own fans and in a club suit.
For me, my personal experience of my very first, which I would just call it a local derby. That's it. You've mentioned the word 4 times now already. 4. I'm counting. Was way back in the 70s, and they were given the Tilton Road before it was redeveloped and one thing and all that. And they were given the Tilton Road, and they'd all got like little pink and blue balloons. And they were putting them on the pitch.
How sad.
Oh dear. We've got a live question coming in from Craig Gill, who you might know. He obviously works in the Blues community.
Yeah, I know.
He's just asking, other than your debut for Blues, what's the highlight of your career other than your debut for Blues?
Yeah.
Is it tonight?
Tonight, yeah. Other than that, I would say winning League One with Brighton and Swansea. I was lucky enough that I was in two great squads with 2 brilliant managers. That we were crowned champions for both clubs. So I'll probably say that probably say those moments. Or, yeah, without a doubt, it'd be stepping out with Blues. And, like being involved with the club again, with the fans around would be my absolute goal in the future. But in terms of my career, apart from that, it would be, winning the league with Brighton and winning the league with Swansea.
Yeah. And who was your favourite player as a kid?
As a kid?
As a fan, yeah. A fan, yeah.
You know what? I can't say I had one because my favourite player, I was left-footed, you see, so I was like, Ryan Giggs was the one for me.
Yeah.
And I was a Blues fan, but it was just Ryan Giggs. So like, he was brilliant, wasn't he? Like, what a career the bloke had. And I was lucky enough, obviously, to play on the same pitch as him when we played Man United at St Andrews. So Ryan Giggs. But I think players like Martin Granger growing up, watching. Yeah. He was full-blooded, wasn't he? He would take no prisoners. No prisoners.
But he could play, though, couldn't he, as well? He was so technically good as well.
There's a lot more to his game.
Yeah, that's it. And I know, and I think most people remember him for, like, absolutely smashing into, like, his winger or whatever and being full-blooded. But, like you say, he had an absolute wand of a left foot. And I think we've just got to, think back to most of the goals he scored, and there were free kicks, aren't they, where he was just, like, popping them into the stanchion, and he was class. He was
class. Yeah, definitely.
It was fantastic.
Right, Marcus. Linda Ensor, Auntie Linda, as we all know her, she's quite old.
Very, very old.
Now, Linda has been doing a lot of work for us because we've this year decided that we're doing lots of charity work for PTSD. Okay, now it's coming up to Remembrance Sunday, and just to let you know, because most people probably know this, my Braf's son was killed out in Afghanistan, and we're in contact with a lot of soldiers who have come back, and the struggles and the suffers that they take. She's asking, every time you say the V word, and you've done it 4 times already, will you donate to charity?
Yeah, of course I will.
Say it again, then.
Say what?
Say it again,
a few more times.
Oh, yeah. No, listen, I'll donate. I promise I won't say then. I'll donate, no problem. I just won't say the I nearly said it. Well, I won't say the V word.
I think it's up to about 4,500 that you owe so far.
We've done really well though, Marcus, because a lot of supporters have donated £1 for every goal that Blues score this year. Yeah,
it's brilliant.
The boards of the Labour Club have donated a tenner for every goal that Blues score this year.
Yeah, they've got to be big.
What an effort. I mean, like I said to you before the show started, there are some absolutely brilliantly lovely, amazing people out there. Birmingham City fans. We've had a reputation in the past, but you know what? When we come together, we make things happen.
Yeah. No, definitely. No, of course. Like, seriously, I'll donate whatever I need to, and give you the details.
Can I ask you the question? What do you call the Portuguese house?
A Portuguese house?
Yeah.
It begins with a V.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Paul definitely saying, surely making your debut for the Blues All Stars must have been a highlight of your career.
Yeah, that's a good one, Debs.
Oh,
I don't know which one I was more nervous at. Starting for the All Stars, because you got some characters there that were getting your case when you give the ball away.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's. I enjoy playing in those games. I haven't played in them for a while. Just I know prior to lockdown, I'm on about just because our academy games are on Saturdays, and we used to have training on Sundays, so it kind of wiped me out for the weekend. But they're great for a great cause as well, and there's some absolute legends you're playing amongst there. And the only problem is, I think you're meant to be over 35, but Kev Broadhurst went, "Go on, we'll let you off. We just need a bit of fresh legs in there."
How old are you, Marcus? How old are you?
And of course, Tom Ross is an absolute legend as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Marcus, how old are you? How old are you?
I'm 34.
Oh yeah, 34. You look about 17.
Yeah. Yeah. This camera must be doing me some favours, mustn't it?
John Terry's love child.
Oh, that deserves a contribution. When you
Question coming in from Craig Courtney. Did Marcus work with Jude Bellingham, and did he see the potential? And does he work now with Job? And if so, who is better?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I did work with Jude. So I've been assisting with the club's academy for like the last 5 years. So I first came across Jude 5 years ago. So what would he have been then? Very young.
12.
Very young, yeah, 12. But
Right,
he was still training. Like he would drop into the under 15, 16s age group that I would be in and around. So, you know, it just in terms of his age and that he was managing to hold his own in the older age groups was like an achievement in itself, because see, he wasn't as well developed as the age groups he was playing in. So like physically, but yeah, ability, it was phenomenal. We all got to see what he was like at St Andrews, but over the years, I've seen him do some ridiculous things things where, you know, he scored from the scored a half volley goal just over the halfway line against Man United. Absolutely, he'd run the show when he played. He'd run the show.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
And he's now the youngest. Sorry,
go on, Paul.
No, so don't get me wrong. He'd have his lower moments as well where things weren't going his way, and you know, he kind of probably had to manage his frustrations. But just like seeing his development over the years is unbelievable. Like what a lad! Like just in every sense.
Yeah.
What about Job though? How's he getting on? How do you compare the two together, if you could?
Yeah, well, that's it. I have a lot of, you know, friends and fans like say to me, is Job as good as Jude? Job's very good, but what I don't like to do is compare the two, because they're so unique in their styles and their quality. They've both got separate qualities that are so like top, really. It's hard to explain, but you know, like Job's in a good place. He's enjoying his football. He's you know, he's getting opportunities in the under 18s. He had a little taste of the 23s earlier in the season, but we have to kind of remind ourselves that he's only 15, and he's a young lad. And he's got plenty of years developing ahead of him, and he knows that as well. They're both bright boys, Jude and Joe. They're bright boys, and the family are so down to earth and level-headed, and they understand the process that the club have got and the plan that they've got in place for Job now. So Job's got a bright future, definitely.
There's the guy that comes into one of the pubs. He's a football agent. I won't mention his name because that's not, you know. And I said to him probably 2.5 years ago, watch out for a young lad called Jude Bellingham. And he said, all right, okay, right. I said, he's coming through the ranks at Blues. Watch out for him. And now I met him about 2 months ago for the first time since before lockdown. And I said, now watch out for his brother, Job. And you know what? These lads, I mean, shame we couldn't keep them, but they're going to earn the club an awful lot of money.
Oh, yeah. And this is what you have to remember. I mean, like, Jude, Job and his family, there's been clubs that have shown interest from a very young age, and a lot of credit goes to the parents, because if they wanted to, they could have took their children out the club for basically peanuts, but they haven't, and I think credit goes to the family where they kind of looked after the club and their children, where they kind of, you know, got the best for the club and the best for their own boys. So, like I say, the transfer fee that we received from Dortmund was substantial, wasn't it? That would be a massive benefit to us as a club. And like I say, it could have been a case of they left for 100,000 in a tribunal early doors, and they didn't. And no doubt that these clubs, the Chelseas, the Man Uniteds would have been throwing big money at the family, and they turned it down because I know that their motivation wasn't driven by money. Their motivation was driven by, we want our children to be happy. We want them to break records at Birmingham City. We want them to, do what they need to do at the current time, which in Jude's case was establish yourself at a club, do what you need to do, and whatever happens after that happens. And the family were pivotal in that sense, really, because without them, and I'm sure there's a lot of other parents that would have just had their heads turned and chased the money, and we wouldn't have got to hear about him.
How refreshing is that?
Yeah,
oh
exactly.
yeah, it's great in this day and age. Yeah, a lot of people have their head turned for money, which I've got nothing against. If that's what families need to do, that's up to them. But then being a Birmingham City fan, it was so nice to see that we could watch the journey of such a. He's a legend, isn't he, at the club?
Oh, yeah.
Breaking records, even though we only saw him for a few seasons. It's so great to see him come through and break records and just display some of the performances that we saw through the younger age groups, and actually put that on the big stage against established first team players and big clubs.
And he's broke records since he left, hasn't he? He's England under 21's record goal scorer, youngest goal scorer, and he's now the youngest player to play in the Champions League as well. Isn't he? Youngest Englishman.
Yeah. He'll continue to break them as well. Honestly, the kid's got no fear whatsoever, and some people would, he doesn't fear anyone. Like when he went to Dortmund, he's respectful. Don't get me wrong, but he knows of his ability and what he's capable of doing. And if anyone's in his way, he'll gun them out the way. Believe me, he's so driven. But
Go on, Paul. Go on.
I was just going to say he's going right to the very top, isn't he, mate? He'll probably be, there's no doubt he's going to be a full England international very soon.
Definitely. At one stage, my brother-in-law is a big fan from the other side.
That was nearly another 10.
I used to wind him up. I said, this was before he actually. Grealish ended up getting his England cap, but I said,
50 quid if you say that word.
You know what? Could you see I hesitated when I said it? But I said to my brother-in-law, I said, I'll have a bet with you now that Jude Bellingham will make his full England debut before your man gets his debut. But I ended up losing that bet, obviously. But it won't be long. I really don't think it'll be long.
No,
season or two, and honestly, that kid could go do anything. He could do anything.
Yeah, incredible talent.
Your thoughts, Mark?
I was going to say, one of Jude's biggest strengths was it seemed like he'd been around for years. I mean, that was just, I know it's only a short time, but it was as if he'd been around for 10 years.
Yeah.
My point of view, Marcus, the bit that I liked about him, he was always last off the pitch, and he went round and applauded everybody.
Yeah. No, he loved the club. I can honestly say that there was no act about it. He loved the club. So does Joe. They actually love it. Joe, we have a joke. He knows keep right on. He'll sing it, and they do love the club, and it is refreshing to see as a fan, because they're the type of players you want to see in the team, where that it means so much to them. It means as much to them as us lot sat in the stand.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're the type of players you want to be representing the shirt.
Well, my eldest son, Adam, right, he could sing "Keep Right On" from start to finish before he could say "Mom."
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's all about brainwashing. I do the same with my boys. I drilled it into them early doors.
I think we have the pleasure of Jason Plant viewing the show tonight, and just wanted to say, it was a great send-off for his lad Tommy last week, wasn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely superb, beautiful.
Yeah.
Awfully sad, tremendously sad, but you know what? Wow. I'm lost. Yeah.
Yeah. I was there at St Andrews. It was real lumping.
There's the goosebumps again.
Really. Well, there you go.
God bless.
Chris Russ has just said, Marcus, when you was playing and the fans were singing loud, how did it make you feel?
Oh, there's not many places, there's not many stadiums that I can say throughout my whole career that have given me goosebumps. But my top two are St Andrews when everyone's belting out "Keep Right On." Even as a fan, I still get that now and again. You know, like when the atmosphere's top, you get that feeling, don't you? And St Andrews and Elland Road as well. They're the two places through my whole career when it's a full house, which I've been lucky enough to play at both when it has been. Like goosebumps, absolute madness. Like, it's hard to describe. But
what was your best? Sorry, Marcus. What was your favourite away ground? Was there any ground you sort of highlight and think, "Oh, I can't wait to go there"? You know, was there any that stands out?
Yeah, I always like playing at Elland Road. There was turn up in numbers there.
Tasty. Very tasty.
I always like going back to my old club. So even when I was at Brighton and we played at St Andrews, I always enjoyed that because you had a bit of you had memories at that place. So that was always good. But at the Etihad, it wasn't called the Etihad when I played there for Blues, but I think it was City of Manchester Stadium, something like that.
Yeah, it was.
That's
it.
I got you. I've been lucky enough to play at loads of new stadiums. They're just the ones I can think off the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, again, going back to atmosphere, the Liberty Stadium for Swansea, the one game that I recall was against Leeds. Again, it was a night game just around Christmas time. And you know what night games are like when the stadiums are packed.
Oh yeah.
Unreal. Yeah. And you literally couldn't hear. You'd be shouting your teammate, a bit of information on the pitch, and you couldn't hear each other.
Yeah.
It's just start to finish. Whether Leeds were singing, then Swansea was singing, and it was great.
I bet Swansea Cardiff is a tasty one as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you played any of them?
Yeah. Unlucky for me, I was either suspended or injured.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah, so it's a nightmare because as you know, like they've got a fierce rivalry there, just like we have, and to the point where away fans can only get in the ground if you're on the registered supporters travel coaches.
Oh right,
and they give you a ticket the other side. So, that's the type of rivalry that you get there, that no one's allowed to just make their own way. It's very hostile,
I don't think there's a rivalry like ours, though.
No. Ours, without doubt, ours is, in my opinion, ours is one of the best in the country. I know that I am going to say that because I'm a Blues fan, but I really think it is.
Yeah. Couple of questions from in the week off a couple of our fans, if that's okay, Marcus. I'll just put on the page about a couple of asking people to ask any questions for you. And Mike Rogers is asking, who's the best player you ever played with and against?
Played with would be difficult because there's a lot of talented players. Matty Upson, Kenny Cunningham.
Yeah.
I know if I had to choose one, probably Kenny Cunningham.
He was quality.
Brilliant. Like that. I mean, Kenny could just read the game so well. Like, obviously, he was towards the end of his career when he was with us, wasn't he? But I just admired that he was never the tallest centre back, but he very rarely lost headers. He used his body really well. He was just a clever defender, wasn't he? Like, you think that we need someone that's absolutely rapid as a defender. You don't. Kenny proved everybody wrong there. Like, he had the brain, and that's all you need. Sometimes he was 3 steps ahead of everybody else. Definitely Kenny. He was a great bloke as well. Like, being a young lad, always have time to have a chat with you in the gym and find out what's going on, and just a proper good bloke to help a young lad develop.
Proper captain.
Proper captain. Yeah, King Kenny, definitely. The player that I played against. Most people say to me, "Oh, you played against Ronaldo. It's got to be Ronaldo." But Ronaldo back then wasn't the Ronaldo that we see now.
Yeah.
I'd say to Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard probably.
Steven Gerrard.
I didn't want to bring it up, but you remember that absolute tanking we got at St Andrews? So
yes.
Which I try and forget about most of the time. He started on. He came out to the right for a bit. I think it was Luis Garcia was out there for a bit, and then Gerrard come out there, and he was much quicker than I realised. He'd just glide and get myself into positions, thinking, he's never whipping the ball around me. I'm going to block the cross, and he could do stuff with the ball that I've never seen players do before. Like his quality on the ball was absolutely ridiculous. Like it was,
he's got to be
hard to defend against.
He's got to be the best ever player never to win the Premier League.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
Got to be. There can't be anybody better than him that hasn't won the Premier League.
Yeah, probably.
It was unreal, wasn't it? It was unreal.
Unbelievable.
But I mean, that probably does an injustice to lots of other players that I've all kind of missed out, because over the years I've played against some very good players, and not necessarily Premier League. It's probably easy for me to just look at Premier League, but you can't turn your nose up at League One and Championship, because there's a lot of players there that, given the opportunity, that would probably thrive in the Premier League, but it's just taking the risk on them and giving them the opportunity. So there's plenty of players that I come up against in League One that were tricky and hard to play against. So it's I don't mean to seem disrespectful for kind of not mentioning anyone at that level. But Steven Gerrard is obviously a understandable choice, probably.
Genuine world-class player. And Steve Jobs asking, and this probably... Sorry, Nick.
Keep it going for a minute. I'm just going to, shall we say, nip to the loo?
Okay, don't switch your phone off. Because that spoils
I don't take it with you either.
He's an idiot. Oh, just before we go back to the Facebook questions, I've got one on YouTube as well, which has come up from Sheila. She says, Marcus, what's the worst ground you played at and why?
Worst ground.
Starts with V.
I've got to back off them a little bit, haven't I? I've probably them too much. No, I never enjoyed... when I was at Portsmouth in League Two, we went to Morecambe away. Wasn't too pretty. I didn't particularly like Boundary Park. That's Oldham, isn't it?
Oldham, yeah. I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah, I say that. It's just that the whole experience of it. So the changing rooms are never nice, which plays in their favour. I'm not knocking it. It in a sense, you kind of like the old grounds for the tradition and the realness of the football. But in terms of turning up as the away team, getting off a nice coach and going into the worst changing rooms ever, absolutely blowing a gale, chucking it down, then probably Morecambe and Oldham are not nice places to be at. No. But I've probably got a long list of.
Yeah, I can always remember the old Wigan game, Wigan ground. That was a nasty place to go. It's horrible. So cold. It was always cold.
Oxford's old ground as well, the Manor Ground. Do you remember that
Manor
place?
Ground,
That was like 4 cowsheds around the pitch. It was a horrible place to go.
And Rotherham.
Yeah, and the old Stokes, Stoke ground. That was always cold as well and freezing.
Yeah. Horrible. Steve Jobs is asking, and this probably fits in well with what you're doing now, obviously, but he's just said, if you could give any advice to any upcoming youngsters, what would it be?
In my opinion, it would be attitude. So attitude to learn, just to work. I mean, over the years as a player, and even now, in my last 5 years in coaching, you will have seen loads of players with bags of ability, but they haven't got the attitude that's needed to succeed. So they're not willing to sacrifice certain luxuries, let's say. Yeah. And they haven't got that kind of drive to go and really push their ability to the next level, or I hope that makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I say, you can have all the ability in the world, but if you haven't got the kind of work rate and the drive and the determination to improve and get better, then more often than not, you don't really see them going any further with it.
Sure.
It's such a ruthless business, and I think you see so many youngsters. And don't get me wrong, like I've had moments myself as a youngster and as a pro where you kind of take your foot off the gas a little bit, and you take things for granted, and you get everything done for you. So you get your food after training, you get your kit washed. You kind of take those things for granted until you go to a club where it's not done. And then you go, actually, I need to appreciate what I've got. I need to appreciate the role I'm in. I need to step it up a little bit here because I'm not giving my maximum. And yeah, I just think that the whole attitude kind of approach needs to be top level at every moment.
Mm. And who would you say was the most underrated player that you played with?
Underrated. Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know. That's a tough one.
That's a tough question, yeah.
Is it fair to say that Damian Johnson was underrated for us?
Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah, I mean, when you talk about an absolute pro,
I know
he was that.
I loved him.
And again, going back to the advice to just give attitude, his attitude was he was a machine. Like you'd see him in the gym every single morning, like bettering himself, strengthening his body, whether that's pull-ups. I've never seen someone do so many pull-ups without a rest, like when I saw him in the gym. And I suppose you could say, you could definitely say he was underrated. I mean, he was a solid 6 out of 10 every game.
Yeah.
He would give his all. He would never shirk a tackle. And I mean, that's probably why Steve Bruce played him so much. He was so reliable, wasn't he? And
well, Brucey said it was the best 50 grand he ever spent, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember that.
Absolute bargain.
Unbelievable signing for 50 grand.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got to say a very happy birthday to Bick Singh, friend of the show. Welcome to the 40s Club, 40 years old, Bick Singh. Happy birthday to you. And Joe Donahoe has messaged in. He said, what a proper decent lad Marcus is. Proud that he is a Blues fan and ex-player with real passion for the club. Keep right on.
Nice one.
Yeah. So as Blues all. So what about your family? Your family all Blues as well, or any on the dark side?
Everyone apart from my brother-in-law. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Do you support?
It's like a game, this is.
Before the show ends, you're going to get me again. I know.
Okay. Next time you do it, you can hear this noise.
No,
give him the red card, Chris. Give him the red card.
Oh yeah, the red card. Yeah.
Now I wind him up a treat. Like when they played the other day, and
who's that?
Paddy. Them lot. And Paddy Bamford was on fire. I was texting him non-stop. He didn't even open the WhatsApp message. Like he knows what he's going to get when they're losing. And I got to be honest. Like, I'm like any other Blues fan. I can't stand them. I can't stand them at all. So it was nice to see. It was nice to see that the their bubble burst, and hopefully that continues, because I was sick of it, like everyone else, talking about Liverpool. And I'd go into some of the schools I work at, to do coaching, and all the kids were like, "Oh, Mr. Painter, have you seen this?" And obviously the ones that were wearing the opposite team to us.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Painter.
He's learning.
Mr. Painter, you've seen the Liverpool score? Oh, look what it is. I'll give over. Hurry up and get the next game round so we can put that to bed. So, hopefully they'll pipe down a little bit now.
Did you see the Bamford Zulu sign?
Yeah.
The Z sign, yeah.
That's what I text my brother-in-law. I was like, The first text was Patrick in capitals, second word Bamford, and then a little Z at the bottom of it. So, he didn't want to know. He didn't want to know.
To be fair, I think that's his charity, isn't it, as well? I think it's something to do with his charity.
He came out and explained it, didn't he?
Yeah.
So it's a good laugh, though, wasn't it?
Oh, it's funny.
Brilliant.
Somebody Courtney's asking, are you still in touch with any of our ex-players? And if so, who?
Oh, Mark, you're back.
I speak with Matt Sadler every now and again. I see Stephen Kelly locally when he's dropping his children off to school, and I see him on the school run. Really, his children don't go to the same school as mine, but he's getting a house built on the school that my children. I see him standing outside. No, I was about to say with his work hat on. He's more like directing the builders about what he wants doing. So, have a chat now and again. I pull over and see how he's getting on. So, Stephen Kelly, Matt Sadler, really.
Yeah. He was a good right back, Stephen Kelly, wasn't he? He was very good. It'd be good to get him on, actually. It'd be a good...
Mind you, having said that, I thought Matt Sadler was a good player.
Yeah, he was a cracking player.
Yeah. He was good. See, I was quite... I was quite fortunate through Sad's misfortune, if you see what I mean. I mean, like, coming up through the academy, Matt was always in the England squads. He was always kind of next player to push through. And then he had a nasty ankle injury. So he was ruled out for like a good season or a season and a half, whatever it was. So that kind of opened the door to the left back spot. So, like I say, kind of through his misfortune, I ended up kind of getting an opportunity from it. But, even though we used to compete for the same position, what have you, we weren't bitter with each other. We were real close, and, everyone knew that. So, that's just the way football is sometimes. There's only one person that can play in that position, and that's the way it was. So, no, he had a great career, and he's still he's at Warsaw now, so he's still hanging in there. He's doing really well.
Yeah, fair play to him.
Who's the best prospect in the academy at the moment, in your opinion?
Oh, I'm not just saying this. There's so many that could come through. Honestly,
really?
we're in a really good place with the academy. There's a good number. I'd probably say about there's probably 10 that could end up coming through, because
that's great. That's brilliant.
Honestly, we're in a strong position. There's some really, really talented boys, and
we've always been good. We've always been good at this, though, haven't we? We've always been good at bringing in new blood like this.
And the thing is, it's all right me saying, I think there's 10 that could maybe make the way through. It's the opportunities. It's whether there's that positions available to bump somebody up. And I know the academy and the club always try and work out that pathway for players if possible. But as you know, sometimes certain obstacles can prevent that from happening. And, let's say over the last few years, we've been in a position where we're fighting relegation, and it's probably not the type of environment you want to put a young lad in to make their debut, if you see what I mean. So they're the type of obstacles that kind of can delay things and can obstruct their way to the first team, and whether it's signings that have been made that kind of block up that pathway a little bit. So, there is always a plan in place, but it doesn't always go to plan. But we're definitely in a good place in terms of youngsters. It's just whether they keep developing in the way that they are, and whether they get the opportunities.
You know what, Marcus? You talk about those crazy last days and them last minutes where we're in a relegation scrap. Fulham, Bolton away. Oh my life, mate! They're they're memories. They are memories. Yeah. You know what? Because we can celebrate staying up better than Man United can celebrate winning the.
It's true. It's true.
Very true, that is.
I was still playing when we stayed up at Bolton, but I remember as soon as I finished I was at Portsmouth at the time. We finished our game there, and I remember seeing the scenes at the Reebok, was it, or the Macron? Yeah,
yeah, Macron.
That's it, the Macron at Bolton. I remember seeing the scenes; it looked unreal. But I went to Bristol City away when we kind of secured
with
championship there, and again, it's kind of it's a weird one, isn't it? Because you're kind of on an edge because you could end up going down.
Oh yeah.
At the end of it, it's the best feeling. You know, like it's the best feeling when you do stay up or you get that important goal that we managed to get there.
Yeah, sure. Shall we get on to your 1 to 11, mate? Sorry, Nick.
Go on, Nick.
We had the joy of having Lee Clark on last week.
Yeah,
I heard. Yeah, Lee Clark.
He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. What a nice guy.
Top man.
He's a good bloke. He's a good bloke, isn't he? Yeah, he's full of enthusiasm, isn't he? Yeah. He's a good bloke.
Yeah.
So do you 1 to 11 for us?
Yeah, let's get you 1 to 11 going.
Yeah. So
hang on. Sorry. You're a footballer. Are you okay to count to 11?
Good job. The squad numbers don't go 1 to 11 these days. 26.
Good job on East Staffordshire as well, probably.
Nick, it's not really John Terry, Nick.
Your number on your debut, Marcus, was it 31?
31 it was, yeah.
Oh, call it. Shut up.
Oh dear. Oh, I hate him.
You, mate, because you're a savant. Oh, God, how does he remember this?
Yeah, so my 1 to 11. I've gone 4-4-2 because obviously back in the day that's all it was, wasn't it? When I was playing. So none of these fancy formations you see now. So yeah, I've got a 4-4-2. And this is the players that I played with at Birmingham. So they're all Birmingham players. In goal, Mike Taylor.
Great
Mike
keeper.
Taylor.
Great choice there.
Absolute top pro. Again, good bloke to be around. Great with the youngsters. He was great, weren't he? You know, you couldn't ask for anything more than a keeper. He was solid.
Yeah, definitely.
My right back. I don't know whether this one might divide opinion, but again, this is based on personal experience as well and kind of what they did to help my development. But my right back was Mario Melchior.
Oh, brilliant!
Oh, right.
Yeah.
He had one fantastic season and one not so fantastic season.
Yeah,
in his 2 seasons.
Well, I absolutely wasn't expecting that name to come out the act tonight.
No,
really
no,
I know that. That's what I'm saying. I know he divides opinion at the club, but he was. I thought he was great. I mean, for me personally, he was the type of type of bloke that would, like say, come on, Marcus, I'll do some 1v1s with you after training. So, everyone would go in and he would do a little bit extra with you and he'd say, come on, right, we're going to work on our weak foot. And, for a pro that had come from Chelsea that didn't really need to be doing that in his spare time, I thought, looking back on it, I thought that's so good of him. You know what I mean? Sharing his experiences, giving me little pointers to try and help me out. He would always give you time. I mean, I put him in ahead of Stephen Kelly because just for that reason. Now, Stephen Kelly was great for us.
Yeah.
But Mario Melchior gets it just from that point of view where he was willing to give you more.
But you could see why he played for Chelsea though, and why he was like a Dutch international. He was talented, all right. He was very good. Like going forwards, I thought he had a bit about him. And my captain, my centre back would be Kenny Cunningham. Same reason what I said earlier. Kenny was great with the young lads. Just like so intelligent. It wasn't the quickest, but didn't need to be. He was just like steps ahead of everybody, and faultless in my opinion at the time at the club. He was unbelievable. And, although I was, 18 and 19 when I was in and around the first team, I would kind of try and picture myself doing what he did. So kind of. Oh, hold on a minute.
That's it. Got you back.
Sorry, you got me back.
Yeah.
It's all right. My battery's on its way out. I might need to dart off for a charger in a minute.
Oh, right, okay.
So it was great. It was just so good. I can't speak highly enough. Centre back partner with him would be Matty Upson.
Excellent.
Matty Upson again. I seriously don't think you could fault the pair of them together. I think in my era anyway, and all the time I've been watching Blues, I guess some of you could say different, but that was one of our best centre defensive partnerships we've had.
Best I've seen in my time.
Yeah, definitely.
What would he be worth today, Marcus? Matthew Upson? What do you think he'd be worth in today's market?
Oh, crikey.
13 shillings and sixpence.
When you think about Harry Maguire, 80 million.
Like I'm not knocking Harry Maguire here, but
no, good player.
Upson. Back in the day, I honestly think he'd be giving him a run for his money.
Totally.
I know you're talking about Man United, but Matty Upson. Where did he go after us?
West Ham.
West Ham. Yeah.
I think he could have done better than West Ham in my opinion.
Well, he would now, because back then there was more good centre halves, wasn't there, than there is now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But now he was brilliant. I was lucky enough to play again with him when he signed for us at Brighton as well. So it was kind of nice, because obviously when I was at Blues I was a young lad, and I was kind of learning a lot more in terms of when I was at Brighton. So I'd kind of played a lot more league games, and I'd won the league at Brighton and Swansea in that time. So you kind of was more on a level in terms of maturity, if that makes sense. So I wasn't a young kid anymore at Brighton. When I met him, I was a lot older, and just it's great to play with him again on a regular basis. Yeah, absolute legend.
Yeah.
Left back, I've gone for my mate, my good friend Matt Sadler.
Yeah.
He was. He broke into the Blues team at such a young age, and he did really well, didn't he? I think we all know that. It was his debut against David Beckham, I think.
Yeah, it was at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
What a debut! What a debut!
I know, that's what I mean. So being able to go there unfazed and dealing with the likes of David Beckham shows like what type of player he was. And I never forget as well when Chelsea came to St Andrews, and I thought he kept Arjen Robben quiet for the majority of the game. So Matt Sadler, my left back without a doubt.
Yeah.
Right wing, I've gone for Jermaine Pennant.
Yeah.
Unbelievably talented. As we all know, was probably a little bit up and down with his off-field.
His own worst enemy. Yeah.
But he was a top lad. He was a nice lad, and he was a great laugh. Like he would, whenever he was. You was in a keep ball session with him, like the little boxes that we did on a Friday before a match day. He'd have you in stitches. Like it was kind of like having a youngster in and amongst loads of grown ups. He was like one of us really, because we were only 19 at the time.
Yeah.
He was so immature, and he would just like he'd make you laugh. But, I think he had his problems. I remember him turning up to training, getting out the taxi, and he'd been out the night before, and you could see by his face he was still had it in the system. I remember, we were going up to training half an hour, and Steve Bruce just happened to walk around the corner, saw him getting out the taxi, and I won't repeat the words what he said, but he basically said, "Get back in that taxi, and go home." So. I must say, Steve Bruce he managed him really well, because he loved the night out, and I thought he still got the best out of him. Still got the best out of him, although his professionalism probably was left to be wanted. But and again, I put him in ahead of Seb Larsson. Seb Larsson would have been my one kind of in there, but Seb. Gets beaten to it by Jermaine Pennant, just because Pennant had some real quality, and we was performing well in the Premier League at that time. So Yeah, centre midfield. Difficult one to choose. I had a few people in brackets, like kind of back up in case you got injuries, but I went for David Dunn.
Yeah.
David Dunn.
Talented bloke.
Unbelievable on the ball. I used to see him do stuff in training. I was like, oh my Lord, I've never seen anyone strike that ball the way he strikes it, and the energy he'd have on the pitch. I really don't think we saw the best of him from a fan's point of view.
I don't think we did, no.
Which was a real shame because...
Where did we get him?
Blackburn.
Yeah, Blackburn. And I think he ended up going back there, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
He went back.
But yeah, David Dunn although he looked probably from the outside, he looked quite heavy, but he was a stocky player and he could not beat a player. He would take
quality. He was on draw when with the ball. He was brilliant. It's just a shame that that season that we did go down. Matthew Upson, David Dunn, Forsell, all these top players getting injuries.
I know. So it's. He would take my position. I'm keeping on my battery. I got 6%. I might need to shout to the missus to get me a charger.
You got 12 minutes left. 12 minutes left. Go on.
Hold it there.
Okay.
Are you all right? Do you think I can get through with 6%? 12 minutes.
Nah,
12 minutes.
No, go and get your charger.
Go and get your charger.
It's all right. Go on. It's all right. I'll give her a shout if I see it lower than any lower. So David Dunn, I've got Nicky Butt in brackets, so he would have stepped in just for the legend he was, for the career he had. Again, probably didn't see the best of him at our club, but Nicky Butt would have stepped in if David Dunn got injured. My next centre mid, I've got Robbie Savage.
Oh, yeah.
He was right.
He was on a few weeks ago.
Yeah, another guest.
Yeah, we had him on. Yeah.
He was class as well.
You know what he did? Yeah, Marcus, right? He apologised to every Birmingham City fan for the way he left the club, and he said he would love nothing more than to come back on the centre circle and turn around and applaud everybody, right? And do you know what? Within 5 minutes, we said we'll get it organised. Within 5 minutes, Paul Devlin messaged us, said it's sorted.
That's great. You know what? As well,
we've all got to be back.
He'll get a standing ovation, won't he? I mean,
I
think he can. Everyone knows what he did for us on the pitch. He was brilliant, wasn't
he? Moment.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was unreal. Yeah, I love that. I'd just come round from an operation during that game, and I remember coming round and I was watching it thinking, what on earth is happening here? It was absolute scenes, wasn't it? It was all kicking off.
Horse going in goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's
it. That was anaesthetic.
Nico Vasson, I stayed in overnight, and then the surgeon said to me, "Oh, we've got Nico Vasson in the next room from you." He said, "Having his cruise ship done." I was like, yeah. So Robbie Savage. He was an absolute horror to be training with because he was such a joker, but a joker in a way that he'd stitch you up all the time. Like you'd come into the session. Thanks. You must have heard me.
Oh, bless.
Yeah.
Now say hello to everybody.
Yeah, she's run off now. He was just such a character. Like you come into the session on one touching, and he'd be flicking the ball up at your head, going, Gaffer, get him back to the reserves. He can't deal with it. He can't handle this. He can't handle the speed of it. And he'd just made life so difficult for you. But for me, I was desperate to impress, and he'd be just doing all sorts to try and make your life difficult. Where he's like, Gaffer, he's not good enough. Send him back. And he'd only be joking, but I'll be like, Sav, come on, lay off for you.
Not phoning, lad.
That's it. Next I've got I had Muzzy Is It in brackets there. Muzzy Is It, another real talented footballer.
There's another one. There's another one.
Yeah, we didn't see the best of him, did we?
No, we didn't. No.
You know, like these type of players, even Is It and Savage. So when I was younger, I would look at these and I'd be like, oh yeah, it's a name, I've heard of them. But you know, when you get to train and play with them, you actually realise they've got more in the locker than you actually think, talent-wise. So everyone probably remember Savage tearing around the pitch, his hair going everywhere, smashing into somebody. and be like, oh yeah, that's Robbie Savage. But he was really good on the ball. Really good on the ball. Yeah, so I'll move on. Left wing, we got Stan Lascaridis.
Oh yeah.
So many put him in the team.
Yeah.
What a player.
Yeah.
No surprise, is it? He's
Absolute legend.
yeah, he was great. I don't think I need to explain why I've even put him in. Just a Blues legend, isn't he?
Yeah.
Up front, I've got Mikel Forsell. That first season in the Premier League was unreal, wasn't he? He was untouchable. Everything he hit went in. I can't remember the last player that at that level for us that got double figures. I don't know. You guys would probably know better than me. But he did get double figures. Then he got over.
Got about 17, 18 Premier League goals that season. Yeah.
That was it.
So, plug your phone in.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, I'm holding the charger, but I haven't plugged it in. So yeah. It's Mikel Forsell and another one as well that would be. Hold on a minute. He was another one that would always have time for the youngsters. So I remember well, he would always go. He would actually approach me as a young lad that barely had any games, going, Marcus, would you mind just defending against me so I could do 1v1s in and around the box? I could get my shots off. And what I thought was great. And to be fair, he's probably telling lies, but I'll never forget the one session that I'd done some one-to-ones with him. He was like, oh, you know what, Marcus, you're really hard to beat. I find you like the directions you're showing me in, and like you're really difficult to get past. And I thought, this is Mikel Forsell saying that I'm hard to beat. He's kidding me. And I, you know what, like that done my confidence apart. I went off the training pitch like feeling on cloud nine, because a player like of that caliber telling you that oh yeah, I thought you're really, really good defender. I can't beat you. I find it difficult. I think
Terry, didn't you?
Me. He was definitely lying. But at the time, I thought, what's up, man? Yeah, and the striker playing with him, I've gone for Emil Heskey.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good combination. You've got Mikel Forsell that was real sharp, and it was a great finish. And Heskey, similar to what probably Dukey gives our team at the moment. A good target man. Just an absolute monster.
I think he went underrated, didn't he, Marcus? He went underrated.
He was.
I liked him. I did.
No, so did I, and I know he used to get over the years, not at Blues necessarily, but over the years.
He played for another team, Marcus, didn't he? Before us.
Yeah, but you're catching me out of that one. Nearly. But it was just an absolute monster. Like, I remember we had a 50-50 once. We were running next to each other, and I tried bouncing him out the way, just shoulder barge. And he actually laughed at me. Like, I didn't move him. He laughed at me, jumped up and said, he went, think about who you're coming up against, Marcus. Don't try and muscle me out the way. And I thought, you know what? He's got. That was such a good coaching point, because it was me, like a skinny little 19-year-old, trying to like out muscle Emil Heskey.
Bulldoze.
That was his strength. Like that's what he kind of made a career out of, was using his body. And as much as he was joking, I come on, I thought, that's a good point. Don't try and wrestle with players that you can't compete with. You need to be cleverer than that.
Got a brilliant. Sorry, Marcus. Brilliant comment coming in here from Adam Wilkes. He's saying when Mikel Forsell said you was hard to beat, are you sure he didn't get you confused with John Terry?
Yeah, it might have been.
It's funny how it's.
Yeah, and then in brackets for the forwards there. Now, I'm probably clutching at straws here, because I wasn't actually on the field in a competitive game with him, but I'd be training with the first team and in and around the first team when he was there, and that was Christophe Duguay. So obviously he would be a starter without a doubt. What a talent! He's I can honestly say he's one of the best players I've ever seen at St Andrews during my lifetime.
Mine as well.
I know there's plenty of other great players to grace St Andrews, but What a talented player! Like,
Unbelievable.
What would you give one now?
Who's class, didn't he?
Yeah, brilliant player. I think there's only two other players, along with Forsell, to get double figures in the Premier League for us. And I think that's Cameron Jerome and Emil Hesker.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's like a directory. He really is, honestly. An encyclopedia of facts and figures.
Yeah. Cameron got, I think it was about 10 or 11, the season that we finished 9th under McLeish.
Yeah.
And obviously Emil did it the season that we went down, unfortunately, but he did manage to get double fit. Oh, no, actually, it was the season before when he was up front with Clinton Morrison and he got a good partnership going. Yeah.
When we talk about these names, we have had some good players over the years.
Crikey!
We have had some good players.
Paul, facts and figures, man. Right, who we got up next?
Next guest, you mean, or next game?
Next game.
Next game, we've got Huddersfield on Wednesday night, haven't we?
Yeah.
Right. Predictions, Mark.
We're gonna have to turn the tide at some point, and I've got a funny feeling we're gonna beat Huddersfield 2-0.
Well, I'm going 3-0.
2-0.
I just can't see where the goal's coming from. I'm going to go for a 0-0. Sorry.
0-0. Yeah. Paul. Yeah.
I'm going to go 1-0.
2
to us.
Right, Marcus.
2-0 to us.
I think 3-0.
I'm the same as you, Mark. I think there's going to be a moment soon that the goals would just start going in for us.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Marcus. Right. Prediction was I missed it.
2-0.
2-0.
Right, okay. All right. Well, it'll all come out in the wash. Normally we do a last 15 minutes, but you know what? This conversation has been that interesting tonight. I couldn't even be bothered with it, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'm going to be dead honest with you, Marcus, right? Right. Straight down the line. Yep. Thought to myself tonight, Marcus Painter, I don't know if this is going to be interesting or not, but it's been one of the best conversations we've ever had.
It's been brilliant.
It's been superb. We've been able to take the rip out of you. We've had a damn good laugh. Yeah.
Fantastic.
You know what? You've given some great insights into players, into your 1 to 11, and some great memories. And you know what? Can we get back to that Eddie Heights? Do you think ever?
Can we?
What, back to the Premier League?
Yeah.
Well, that's the goal, isn't it? It's always got to be the goal. I love the Championship. I love the Championship. And I would love to stay in the Championship if the crowds were like 32,000 a week, because it's blood, it's thunder, it's in. Next one. Yeah. But obviously, the money's in the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah. No, obviously, I think same goes for me. The goal is always Premier League. I'd always want us to get to Premier League. I remember even one or two of my family members in the past going, "Nah, wouldn't want us to go to Premier League. Wouldn't want to see us come straight back down." I was like, "That's nonsense. Just let's get there first of all. Then you can worry about who you're signing and whether you're able to maintain your status in the Premier League." I'd never turn Premier League football down. Even if it meant us getting relegated, like after the year, at least you got the opportunity. And we could all enjoy that season if that ever happens. But no, like I've said to my missy, like since I've been with her, she's not from Birmingham, you see, and I said the one thing I hope for in my lifetime is that she gets to experience us, or the Blues, at a cup final, a playoff final.
Who's this, sorry?
Somewhere. I said it to my missus, so I said I really wanted to experience it because she's not from Birmingham. So I said,
"Does she look like John?"
What's that?
Go, Nick.
Does she look like John Terry's missus?
Good job, she can't hear you. I said, like, if she can experience that, like the atmosphere of us getting to a cup final, or the Premier League, I said that would be the true Birmingham City that you'll never forget when the stadium's absolutely bouncing.
Definitely.
Where's she from, Marcus?
She's from Reading.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, top of the league, aren't they? So,
is she a fan?
Is she a fan as well? Reading fan?
Nah, well, no, she's not. She's Chelsea.
Oh dear.
Yes,
Oh
no.
dear.
I don't know. I don't know what
Good job. What a
voice
good
is
job.
attractive to me.
What an absolute good job. She's not Billy. You could have just done yourself out.
Marcus, can I just say we have literally had loads and loads of comments saying what a fantastic guest we've had tonight and that like so. So there you go.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Like I said,
mate. Been a pleasure.
I don't know where
Really
this one is
enjoyable,
going to go to. Right? And sometimes you can judge them, and sometimes you can't. And I didn't judge this one tonight because this has been an absolute ball.
Yeah, it's been fun.
No, I've enjoyed it. Yeah,
fun.
it's been great. I'll start tuning in. I'll start tuning in more often.
Yeah. Who can we roast next week?
Yeah.
That's what it
See
is.
if you give them the same amount of stick.
Oh, we do, don't worry.
You know what we could do? We could talk all night. Right, like with Lee Clark last week, superb. And so many of the guests we've had such a massive guest list this year, thanks to Craig Courtney. We have had, oh man, this has been unbelievable. And we're in a horrible place at the moment where we have got to do this through Zoom. And we had some criticism last week, and I've got to say this to everybody, about us talking over people. And it is very, very, very difficult to do a Zoom with 5 or 6 people and not talk over people. We have tried our hardest. We've had chats in the week about it, how we're going to manage it and do it. And I hope that tonight, we've proved that we could. Look, we all get excited. We're Birmingham City fans, and you want to say everything you want to say that you want to say. And I could talk all night to you, Marcus, because this has been superb, absolutely brilliant. But you know what? We have tried our damnedest tonight to bring you a quality show. This has been a quality show. And you know what we're going to do next week? We'll bring you another quality show. Next Monday night, we've got Chris,
Paul, Mark.
Is it Danny Sonner next week?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is, isn't it?
You know what?
Here endeth the quality show.
We're pretty useless, really, aren't we?
Big build up than that.
I know.
Yeah, that was superb. You know what? That's one of the moments I'm going to go down in Tilton Talk Show this week. That's superb. Ladies and gents, girls and boys, we're all Birmingham City fans. We're all one family together. Unfortunately, we can't meet up with each other at the moment, and I'm desperate to do so. But you know what? If we can't, we can't. And if this is all we can do, then we'll do it, and we'll do it to the best of our ability. We're not professionals or anything like that. We don't get paid for doing this. We've never taken a single penny, Chris, have we? Not one pence.
Not a penny.
And you set that studio up on your own.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all through the summer as well.
You give your time up on your own. Mark, you give your time up on your own. Me, I travel almost from Alton Towers every Monday normally and give my time and efforts on my own. And we're just blokes in a room who are blues fans. You know what? We ought to have a lady join us, Chris.
Yes, we did. We should. Yes.
We do.
We should. Yeah, we should.
A lady. If there's any ladies out there, if there's any ladies out there that'd like to join us on the Tilton Talk Show one night, please get in touch with either myself or Chris Brown and we'll get it organised.
Or an old lady.
Sponsored by Borough Sports, principal sponsor of Birmingham City Football Club in conjunction with SAS Autos and, of course, our friends at Borsley Labour Club.
Sure, there's a few old ladies out there.
From Mark Adams.
Good night.
From Mark Adams.
Good night. He can't hear you.
Has he gone?
I don't know. Yeah, I think he's frozen. Hey!
He's frozen. It's not that cold outside.
He's frozen. Okay.
Evening, everybody.
Oh, he's back again.
He's frozen.
Paul's frozen.
No.
Good night.
The
end of last show descended into chaos. It's so funny.
I was giving Mark the limelight then to say goodbye. Say good night.
Paul Hipkiss, good night. God bless.
Good night, all.
Mark Adams.
He's gone again. I'm starting the music. Ta-ra.
And from, of course, the one and only Mrs. Brown. From myself. And our special guest tonight. This has been an absolutely superb show. Marcus Painter. Thank you so very much indeed.
No problem. All the best. Keep it on, lads.
God, you didn't
No, I loved it. Nice one.
Do you know what's been a blessing tonight? Not only talking to one of our professional ex-footballers who played in the Premier League, but a Birmingham City fan. Proper. You're a proper geezer. And you know what? You have spoken tonight like an absolute true professional. It's been superb. I've not enjoyed myself so much since I got drunk last night. I'll be honest with
you. Good stuff. Loved it,
well,
fellas. Thanks a lot.
Listen, dude, when we're all back, mate, meet you down at St Andrews.
Yeah, definitely.
Bar 8 on John Terry.
Good night.
All right, yeah.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
See you later.
Easy, guys. Yeah, and keep the faith. We'll be back soon.